Hello, everybody. This is Jordan Ainswood's here, and I'm reporting from live from the Too Many Games convention in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I happen to have the rare opportunity to speak to Mr. Noah SpoonyOne Antwiler. Sir, it is a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.
I was so afraid you'd just given up on the entire Eastern Seaboard after that one MagFest.
No. Why would I blame the rest of the Eastern Seaboard? No. One bad experience. It wasn't even that bad.
It really pains me too because MagFest is far and away my favorite convention of all time.
I know. I always call it the Las Vegas of conventions. It's always so crazy there, and so many people walk away from that with such wild bad stories, but they can't wait to go back.
Yeah, it's a music and games festival, and I barely even care about music.
Right.
And I still want to go there for 4 straight days.
I know. There's so many things you'd wish you'd seen. You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back with it too, within bear driving distance from Central Maryland. So
too many games, man. I've been so busy with panels here. I really want to see the dealer's room alone is like a wonderland. You know,
this is the third one of these that we've been to, and before it had pretty much all just been a dealer's room. Yeah. I'm rather surprised to see the sheer number of panels here. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule.
Well, thank you.
Well, I have to say. What I want to start off with is I know you said many times that that the SpoonyOne pretty much began with Star Wars, and
yeah,
hopefully it won't end with Star Wars because you've my hat's off to you, sir, for being one of the few people to recognize how poor Phantom Menace was initially. I sure as hell was fooled.
It was again. I don't consider myself like brilliant for recognizing that it was bad. It was just like maybe it's the fact that I think a lot of people just wanted to believe so badly. You know, they couldn't believe. Could it have entered your mind that a Star Wars movie could be bad? Like even if you didn't really like love Return of the Jedi, you're like it was inconceivable that you couldn't believe there was going to be another Star Wars movie. It didn't even enter your mind it was going to be horrible. So you walked out of there just delirious. You're like, oh my god, it was so awesome. You latched on to the one good thing you remember from that, the lightsaber fight. And then you watched it again. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah, I lasted up until like nearly the end of Episode 3 when Padme gave birth to Luke and Leia, and then just kind of decided to die.
She couldn't have the will to live.
She died, as the medical droid on call said, she died of a broken heart, and that's when my love of Star Wars died of a broken heart.
So you were in denial for that long, but I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You know, but yeah, I took a lot of heat for that. But I was like, again, I don't blame them. It was just like. It was stages of grief, and anger lasted for a long time. But again, now we're going to see new movies.
Exactly, and since Lucas is out of the director's chair and Mickey Mouse, I guess, is in the director's chair now.
We'll see.
What are you? What would you hope to see from a new Star Wars trilogy?
Well, first of all, they said that about like the movie Red Tails. It was kind of funny how much they were trying to distance themselves. They're like, George isn't directing. He's producing. He's out of there. He directed that. If you watch that movie, he directed that.
I've actually been meaning to see that. Okay.
Bad.
I've been meaning to see Pain and Gain too. I mean, I court danger. It's my
Michael Bay, yeah. His attempt to be like serious, or at least kind of direct a serious comedy, if that makes sense. An actual witty comedy. Oh dear Lord. No. But yeah. They're saying like, oh George, he's hands off on this one. I'll believe that when I see it. It's kind of funny though. We're entering new territory with the Star Wars thing. It's scary. It's scary that again this is like we're dealing with this thing where it's in somebody else's hands in theory. Do we trust them? I don't know. And I don't walk into this with a negative attitude. I don't. But we've been burned so hard now. I think even hardcore fans are walking into this with a sense of caution. We're like, oh no. Well, but hopeful.
When I first heard, I think it was Bob Shipman of The Escapist who reported on what was believed to be the initial script that was rejected. And hopefully replaced by one that's essentially the expendable Star Wars edition.
Wait. There's actually been a leaked script already.
Not a leaked script,
well,
like a leaked synopsis,
like
I guess.
Like a treatment.
Yes, that Abrams wanted the episode 7 to be all about like Han and Leia's kids,
right?
With Luke and Han and Leia rather than supporting roles, and.
Right.
And the first rumblings is that the studio says, like, no, we want Harrison Ford and we want Mark Hamill and apparently Carrie Fisher back to run around and shoot laser guns.
To helm this thing?
To be like the Expendables Star Wars edition.
Oh no!
And then the eighth episode is going to be the kids.
Oh no!
No, so yeah,
But is there any credence to this? Like, this sounds like rumor to me.
It's all.
Like you would know, I don't know.
It's all as much as I would know, and I guess that's enough to make me feel like I should probably just stop caring until the movie comes out.
If you know, bombard him with emails with your inside source material, because he would really love to know.
Yes. Yeah. So you recently moved to Chicago.
I moved to Aurora, which is close as whatever. But yeah, it's interesting.
The time has passed for me to make a timely Wayne's World reference. Damn, I'm sorry.
Well, of course. Well, the time is interesting because I had the good fortune to move from Arizona to Aurora during the worst winter since the Ice Age, which was fascinating for me. Which I guess is a good way to just dive head first, literally into the snow of the ages. My dog found it interesting since she'd never been really exposed to rain, much less Hoth. So it was a good experience for the both of us. We learned a lot, but hey, a lot of it was funny. It was funny that literally every single person, I talked to, they when I moved here, they said, where did you come from? And I said, Arizona. Every single person, I'm not even kidding you, said these exact words. What the hell are you doing here? Those exact words. Everyone, from the cab driver that I had.
Because everyone in Chicago would rather be in Arizona?
Yeah. Yeah. They said the exact, what the hell are you doing here? It got to be funny. Like, it was like about 20 people, all of them said, like, even the person I was buying a doggy door at Home Depot. What the hell are you doing here? And I'm like, and I'm like, I kind of like it here. And they're like, oh, like, you gotta have some pride, Chicago. You're not talking, you're making me regret this. I'm like, you're making me feel ashamed. Like, believe. You gotta believe.
I have the exact opposite feeling. I grew up in the exact opposite experience. I grew up in Western Maryland, and I moved to Central Maryland. And everyone in Central Maryland,
you made the right choice,
assumes that I came from West Virginia. That there can't possibly be any Maryland west of here. You must be delirious, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I grew up knowing all of your counties. Like, I know where Calvert County is. I know where Cecil County is. Why can't you accept Garrett County? I know it's like, it looks like a pickaxe digging into West Virginia, the one place you never want to dig into. But still, I wish people would enjoy the thought of moving to where I came from, sir. So they don't keep your head held high.
But the cab driver was just like, come from where? I'll take you to the airport for free. Get out. You still have time.
All right. Well, sir, it appears that you are now very acutely aware of the sensation that's sweeping Twitter, known as #SpoonyHatesEverything.
You know, it's died down. It's died down.
Okay, well, I was hoping for an opportunity to balance the scales by just asking you spitball for me. In the last 3 years, just name movies, television shows, video games, anything that was released in the last 3 years that you would wholeheartedly recommend.
I hate to jump on the bandwagon because I'm very much not a bandwagon jumper, but you've got to go with the major. Seriously, the series that are on like Netflix, Hulu, and stuff like that. They are great for a reason. They are well loved for a reason, like House of Cards, Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. You know, the Breaking Bad. There's a reason it is so beloved. It is great.
I need to get on Netflix.
I know, right?
I'm such a collector. You know, I love buying DVDs and Blu-rays. It seems anatomical to me to be on Netflix, but one of these days I'm going to see the rest of the 4th season of Arrested Development.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason people binge watch these things. It's because they're great. And even if you find one that you don't like, there's a dozen more. I've been watching Newsroom. My brother got me watching this show called, yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. The guy behind the camera, he's got taste. Aaron Sorkin.
Yep.
I love anything with Aaron Sorkin in it. Even Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. That was a great one. I was like, but if you don't know what that one is, it's basically the politics of Saturday Night Live.
It's basically 30 Rock.
Yeah,
but
30 Rock, but with good writing. No, took a shot there. Things I liked. I really liked movies like Insidious and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of horror movies. So, but the thing is, there really aren't that many good horror movies because it's really hard to evoke that sense of fright and terror. So when there's a good scary movie, I remember them. So.
I think it was your vlog on the first Paranormal Activity in which you mentioned how in most horror movies you're expected to root for the villain, and I'm like, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not much of a fan of horror films.
Slashers, yeah. I'm trying to thinking of specifics. The Avengers, obviously the Avengers. A lot of those, I think. We may not see this happen much longer because I think they're starting to get exploited by studios trying to sell toys now. But seriously, the Marvel Comics and to an extent the DC Comics movies have really started to really hit their stride, making the right formula of entertainment. Even the Incredible Hulk movie really got demonized. I was like, I don't know why that was, because it was exactly the kind of movie it needed to be. I was like, why are you...
Yeah, I have that on Blu-ray. There is, I'm not even kidding, like 110 minutes of deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, an hour and 10 minutes, 70 minutes of deleted scenes, and all of them needed to be deleted.
Yeah, but it's so great, and...
yeah, I'm an enormous mark for the Avengers movie. I think it's just an amazing achievement. I feel like I'm more accepting of poor movies just because I can always say, well, the Avengers is still in my life. There's exactly one scene I liked from the RoboCop remake, the one where Gary Oldman talks to those lungs in a sack.
Yes.
And
yes.
There's nothing else I liked about that movie, but the Avengers is still on my shelf. So
well, I like the credits.
I can still skip down the street.
You know, video games. I get a bad rep for not liking a lot of video games, but again, bandwagon Skyrim. You haven't played Skyrim?
I have not played Skyrim yet.
Just talking about that. If you say goodbye to the rest of your work, or at least the rest of your free time.
The Game of the Year edition, I can find that for $30 now.
Oh, well, actually, I don't know if the Steam sale is still going on. I'm an advertisement. Steam sale, man, that's going cheap. There's a lot of RPGs. I'm a big RPG fan, but there's there's a new Tex Murphy game. You know, if you ever played Under a Killing Moon and stuff like that, because of a Kickstarter, that thing got moving. Kickstarter is such a great thing going on. Patreon, big fan of that, obviously. Such a great fan support going on. But yeah, there's stuff that, seriously, there's a lot of good stuff going on. And the fans actually had a really good point. Whenever they watch me, it's only stuff that I like to rage about. There's only the stuff that they hear from me. I should talk more about things I like.
Well, it's certainly easier to wring humor out of negativity.
Yeah.
The internet learned that a long time ago, and I do my best to make parodies out of things I like as well. It's not as easy, but it's pretty rewarding, at least on my end.
It can be done. I did a review of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where I trashed it, but it's a really great movie, obviously. But you know, I really thought Ferris Bueller is evil incarnate.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Did you prescribe to the fan theory that Ferris is just a figment of Cameron's imagination?
He's basically Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, but I love those. I love theories like that. I remember there was one theory that was floating around that was confirmed that I thought was obvious in Total Recall, the original Total Recall, is that at the end he gets lobotomized. Like it's all a fantasy. I was like, wasn't that clear?
It kind of was to me.
And that's what Paul Verhoeven said. Almost word for word, he goes, was that not clear? He's like, obviously, because there's that...
Dr. Edgemar is seriously among my favorite supporting cast members of all time. He comes into the movie at the most appropriate doldrum and says, "Hey, everybody, this isn't real.
Yeah.
This is just going around in Harold's head. Allow me to ruin the rest of the movie for you in the event that he foolishly decides to continue."
Yeah,
and he does. Minor
tangent. I'm like, this is seriously, and I'm like, this is. He literally tells you that this is a dream, and he goes. if he shoots me, the walls of reality will come tumbling down. Cohagen, you're going to become Cohagen's bosom buddy. You're going to find aliens on Mars. He shoots the guy in the head, and
the walls explode. And
the wall explodes for no reason. And I'm like, there you go. And then people are like, there's no way it's a dream. I'm like,
would you believe that probably the only reason I even saw Total Recall is because the remake was coming around, and I'm like, I gotta compare these two.
Yeah.
How did I go all this time without seeing the first Total Recall?
It drives me nuts. These remakes.
Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies, and I didn't feel like seeing any other Philip K. Dick adaptations. What the hell's wrong with me?
I don't know.
I gotta move on.
I know, right? We can talk about movies all night.
Okay. There's one. You have a panel coming up tomorrow. A Q&A. There's a chance I'm not going to be here, so I came up with what I thought would be the wittiest thing I could say to you, and so let's why don't I say it now?
I know what it's going to be. Go ahead.
Okay. Probably.
I can guess. I haven't looked. I swear.
Okay. So I think it was during your commentary of the Thing video game.
I was wrong.
You said, oh, okay, cool. You said that one of your great lost projects was that you essentially did a riff tracks for John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes. The program crashed. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I would love to have seen that, man. So I'm really and needless to say, you wrote this long before you did the SWAT 4 videos, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so. The part when the Norwegian drops the live grenade at its feet and blows up a helicopter. Yeah. What did you say?
What did he say, or what did I say?
What did you say during the riff tracks?
Oh, I didn't record a riff tracks. It was did I say I was recording riff tracks?
I'm pretty sure you said it was like a riff tracks. It was like your own like humorous commentary that you of jokes that that were supposed to be played over the movie.
Wow, I don't remember if it was a riff tracks. If I did. I don't think it was a riff tracks.
Well,
if I did, it was probably like, you fool. No, I don't know.
I feel foolish now because
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
That was one of those cross references that just happened to align.
You are probably right, but I so don't remember. I can make something up. Keep asking questions.
Okay. Moving on. All right. So okay. Speaking of SWAT.
Sure.
I think I've mentioned a couple times now.
Norway, I did that!
Thank you. I've probably mentioned a couple times now that about 2 years ago, I decided to finally just straight up follow in your footsteps and those of the entire subgenre of internet reviewers that I am clearly just madly in love with.
Oh, and you're madly in love with me.
Well,
too much has been said.
I can't be the first bearded guy to tell you that.
All right, well, no.
So I have an internet review show which I call Geek Critique. Man, I thought that was a witty name until I noticed there were 8 other guys on YouTube that called that. So I had to I had to misspell it. I had to Fruit Loops it up a bit. So it's really hard for me to advertise in podcasts. I find I say CRITEEK, guys.
You've got to lock down the domain name first. Yeah. It's tough.
All right. Well, my list of things I could review for it is already towering, but there are 2 little items that I feel like I feel honor bound to run by you first.
To see if you have permission, or
kind of. If you should. All right. So, have you seen the movie SWAT?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The one with Colin Farrell.
Yeah. We have Bad Movie Night at a social club I belong to, and currently I'm working at a used bookstore, used video store, and you can always tell what would be pretty good fodder for Bad Movie Night when there are 60 copies of something.
Please go ahead.
And so there's 60 copies of SWAT, so I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
There's no such thing as reviewer dibs.
Yeah, okay.
Because what you would do with SWAT is so not what I would do with SWAT. I remember, Mars Girl did a review of Final Fantasy 13 the same time I did, and like a few people gave her flack for that. I'm like, do you really think she's gonna rip me off? Really? Like, she didn't. She gave a much more analytical review than I ever did, because she's way more intelligent than I am. I give her full marks for that one, and hers was so interesting, whereas mine was just rage. Because I'm a much more emotional guy.
Yeah, I gave up Final Fantasy 13 after like 3 hours.
As you were smart.
I was, the final straw was when I realized that all those floating and bobbing and weaving chrome spheres that I've been avoiding because I thought they were mines.
You thought they were mines?
They're treasure chests.
I didn't even think of that.
They look like mines.
That actually makes sense. Wow.
That game's not very user-friendly, I don't think.
I should have thought of that. I don't know why that didn't occur to me.
All right, so my next episode of Geek Critique that's coming out, I did on a Simpsons episode, the one called Principal and the Pauper, probably the most controversial and hated of all Simpsons episodes.
Which season was that? Was that recent?
It was 9th season out of 25. So
I know,
not that recent, but it's the one where Principal Skinner was revealed to have been an imposter, that he basically stole Martin Sheen's identity back in Nam.
Oh, I have seen that. That was about the last season I ever saw. But that show makes me feel so old.
Yeah, I literally cannot remember a time in my life when I did not have The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I remember watching it on the Tracy Ullman show.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
so the thing is that I still really like The Simpsons. I'm probably one of the few people who still does, it seems. But there's another Simpsons episode I definitely wanted to riff, and it's the one in which Mel Gibson confides to Homer that Mel Gibson's life is a living hell because everyone loves him too much. So you can probably see the possibilities there. But then I looked up what that episode was called. Can you guess what that episode is called?
Mel Gibson Hates Everything?
Beyond Blunderdome.
Oh. I thought we were past that. No.
So did I. But
that reminds me of one of my favorite movies. It was actually a play first, but this has nothing to do with anything. So as I'm wont to do. There's a movie with Eric Bogosian in it called Talk Radio. You ever hear that?
I don't think so. No.
It's basically about a Howard Stern style shock jock who is just vile and horrible, and he tries his best to be as vile and horrible as possible. And like people call in, they love him, but they hate the crap out of him, and he tries to get people to hate him as much as possible. He just tries to be as inflammatory as possible. And he, like, my favorite line of that is he goes, "There's nothing more boring than people who love you." And I was like, I spent months unwrapping that in my head. I was like, he's the biggest troll. And I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, I love that line. Anyway.
I'll tuck that away.
But that Mel Gibson line is like, my biggest problem is everyone loves me. So that line reminds me of that. Anyway, interesting. Watch the movie. It's a good movie.
Alrighty then. So, very quickly, speaking of the long time running gag of getting Beyond Thunderdome, I saw your most recent post, the part 2 of Ultimate's Runes of Virtue.
Yeah.
I'm rather pleased that you finally went ahead and made a Blaster Master reference, because for the longest I loved that game growing up, and for the longest damn time whenever anyone talked about Beyond Thunderdome, I seriously thought they were talking about Blaster Master.
Right. Well, that's
instead of Master Blaster.
I always had to correct myself. I almost always trip myself up with Master Blaster. I also wanted to finally get one in where I was like disqualified. Yeah. It was like really bad.
Yeah, I'm still upset with myself on my review of Daybreakers that I called him William Defoe once. Like 9 attempts. I just want to punch myself in the mouth for that. So it happens. Very quickly about the Ultimate Runes of Virtue. You said, I think in one of your earlier in a previous like a movie vlog, that you were reviewing 6 video games at once.
I overshot that. I thought.
So it was just 5.
It was just 5.
Okay, I was curious. There was a Runes of Virtue Part 3 coming.
Yeah, I thought there was there was less than I thought. Sorry.
Speaking of Runes of Virtue and Simpsons, by any chance, the way you were writing that, did you think of Jasper saying, "Kidnapping all the mayors of Britannia, that's a paddling"?
I've had that people post that one. I've had people post that picture. I had no idea that existed. I must have missed that episode.
You're playing as a YOLO, I think, and his idle animation is a
paddle ball.
It's like he's foreshadowing the big twist this whole game, and we didn't realize it.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even.
Of course, we'll kill the villain with ping pong.
I don't get it. The other one has a yo-yo, and I'm like, this is terrible. It's just horrible, and. That game took me by surprise. The first 10 seconds you walk out of that castle, or I walk out of the castle, I get flamed by a seahorse. I still have not killed a single seahorse in that game.
The only animal in nature in which the males get pregnant
Yeah.
are schooling you.
Yeah.
What? Oh, man.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I had to do it again, and I was like, yeah, that was a seahorse.
Okay, man. I feel like a lot of internet reviewers have a shared fondness for Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a coincidence by any chance?
Oh, no. No.
I didn't think so either. I spent pretty much all the late 90s just seemingly doing nothing but watching MST3K. And it was really shaped my belief that I can use humor I can inject humor into like a bad movie and make it better, or I can do the same thing to a good movie and make it great.
Yeah, it's mainly just exposure to good bad. You know, it's that ability to exposure to a culture that you never would have experienced before. The ability to think fast, improv. You know, but yeah, that ability to appreciate there's bad and then there's awesome bad. You know, there's something that's so bad it's funny, and that ability to differentiate between the two, that exposure to Ed Wood. You know, a lot of people didn't have that. You know, and it opens up that entire world to you, and it's strange and it's wonderful, and it brings you to places like this.
And I spent like the first 3 years of my fandom explaining to everyone around me why they're talking during the movie. Yeah, because that's so alien to so many people at first.
It's why people like me go to see Transformers. You're like, why are you so insane? And I'm like, it hurts so good. You know, that's why.
I'm not sure if you've seen his review yet. Brad rather liked it.
I know, sick man, sick.
I don't know.
I
gave up after the second one, frankly.
I don't watch his reviews before I go because I don't know if it's going to make me mad or not. Yeah. But yeah, the thing is, I don't know if I started turning this over in my head. I was talking to April. I was like, she said he liked it, and I go, that does not bode well. I don't even know what I meant by that. And then I was like, if he said he hated it, that doesn't bode well. Nothing he would have said would have boded well. Like, I don't.
Well, I guess you shouldn't watch it then.
I shouldn't watch it. And I'm like, this movie's gonna suck.
I was gonna say, like, what are your favorite episodes of MST3K? What were the ones that you would recommend to people to get into it?
My favorite one is actually somewhat unconventional. My favorite one is It Conquered the World. It has Peter Graves and Lee Van Cleef.
He learned too late that
man's a feeling creature
because of the greatest in the universe.
Night of the Blood Beast is great.
Yes. All those Steves running around.
Lot of Steves. Naturally, you have to go Space Mutiny.
Yes, Space Mutiny is absolutely the one I recommend to people, which is kind of weird because I have to basically skip over the host segments because they have no idea why this ape and this Zaftig woman and this pale dude are chained up in a dungeon in ancient Roman times. Yeah. And I especially have to skip through that host segment in which the ape happens to vomit up the key to his chains, and then unlocks himself, runs off screen, comes back, re-chains himself up, and then tries to vomit up lettuce.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, not a good intro point. For someone who's a big fan, Mitchell is always great. I actually really like those episodes where they do non-sci-fi movies because it's actually like a really cool break. So like Girl from Lover's Lane is actually really good.
Can you believe the TV edit of Mitchell, the one that they used for the episode, edited out
John Saxon getting killed.
The go-kart chase. The dune buggy chase, and Mitchell caving in John Saxon's head with a giant rock.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, stuff had to go. But oh my god, It Conquered the World is a good movie.
And that stars Lee Van Cleef, who dined out the human race to a giant Venusian carrot.
Who wouldn't?
Where'd you get that water from?
I don't know. Yeah. I just willed it, and it was so.
Okay, can I have one?
No.
Okay. Well. Man, MST3K will just never stop giving gifts to me. It seems
You know we're Riff Tracks, right? Obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
The last few Riff Tracks I watched actually are of the Marvel movies.
Holy
crap! Do they hate those movies?
Yeah. They've displeased me as of late.
I don't know what to tell you. Yes, I think you mentioned how they decided they actually offered a Riff Tracks for Sharknado.
Yeah.
That just seems redundant.
I could go on about that, but
okay.
I have. They riffed Highlander. I can never forgive them for that.
I
It's the greatest movie of the 80s. I based my whole friggin' life around Highlander.
I own that on Blu-ray. Thanks largely to you. I really didn't know much about it.
Right?
And also for Bad Movie Night, we saw Highlander 2. The Renegade cut, or as Liam, who owned that copy, said, the Zeissfully clean cut.
I don't know why they haven't released the Zeist cut on DVD. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a piece of history, man. You got to.
I have to say, it was a valiant editing job. I'll always remember Sean Connery very awkwardly saying, "Citizens of the planet, hear me!"
Oh wow, I forgot that. Because they say like,
"Citizens of the planet, Zeist, hear me!" They had to cram those together. But
they come from the past now.
The past, which is a scorched desert wasteland with derelict starships.
There's a starship there.
Which Michael Ironsides still has a live video feed for, and is really pissed off that the people who they exiled are still living in exile.
And they have ray guns. Yeah. They did what they could.
The past!
They did what they could. They actually did a pretty good job, all things considered.
The Castaway Studios crowd and myself are pretty big fans, actually, of Mr. Addywan's fan edits of the Star Wars films.
The Phantom edit?
No, he did.
The purist cut.
He did episode 4, and I think he's working on 5, and he's hoping to eventually get down to, like, Jar Jar free cuts of episode 1, and good luck to him for that.
Good luck with that. It's going to be about 20 minutes long. Whatever.
And are there any other fan edits that you like, or are there any movies that you feel that you would like to see a fan edit of?
I'm not sure what fan edits exist. I remember I actually have the purist cut of Star Wars, which is awesome. But what other fan edits exist? Because I would love to see what is available.
To be honest, I guess I thought you knew.
I don't know.
The reason I asked you because I had to learn so much about editing for my show, and I've really come to appreciate the noble ordeal that is editing.
Okay.
Man.
Let me put it this way. This isn't about fan edits, but here's the difference between a guy like George Lucas and a guy like Ridley Scott.
Okay.
George Lucas has consistently refused to put out the original prints of Star Wars on like Blu-ray, whereas like Ridley Scott and Terry Gilliam have released DVD sets of Brazil, and he's released every single cut of Brazil, even the crappy Love Conquers All ending.
I have 5 versions of Blade Runner.
Correct.
Blu-ray.
And you have the complete set of Blade Runner that has every single cut of Blade Runner ever made, even the ones that are virtually indistinguishable from like the work print cut.
The European cut has like an extra scene of Daryl Hannah jamming her fingers into Harrison Ford's nostrils.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
It's like 5 seconds difference, but he includes a separate version of that. In case you want to see that one. It's an incomplete... He released every single cut in case that's the one you want to see, and he included what's called the final cut, which he considers to be the perfect, his final vision of that, with that really that scene where Daryl Hannah's running through the glass and it was really terrible.
Joanna Cassidy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Not Daryl Hannah. Oh, I'm sorry. Apologies. But
I'll forgive you this time.
It was a really obvious stunt woman running through the glass, and they actually like really painstakingly and really well. Ordinarily, it would have been so crappy. It would have looked like Game of Death. Like this, like this big fakey head running through the glass. It looks great.
It does. I didn't even notice it the first time I saw the final cut.
Unless I had been told.
And yet I noticed the scene in which Harrison Ford behind that glass door. He interrogates the guy wearing the fez, and I noticed that, oh my god, the lips are actually matching what he's saying now, because they brought in Harrison Ford's son and mocapped him mouthing the lines over his father's face.
You know what's one goofy thing, and you think I would have noticed this immediately, never noticed, is when Rutger Hauer releases the dove, and it's raining when he releases the dove, and when the dove flies out, it's completely sunny. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
What the heck is wrong with me? I don't know. But that's the difference. Is Ridley Scott released every single version, as indistinguishable as they are. Every single one. Terry Gilliam released every single cut, even the crap version of Brazil. George Lucas? Nah. That's the difference. So like that's
clearly we just didn't want it enough.
No, we didn't. No, it's not good enough. It's like our taste in movies isn't good enough. It's only his vision that matters. So like, yeah, I would love to see. It's not so much the fan edits it's not that they don't matter. It's that we shouldn't have to make any. You know,
Yeah.
we only make fan edits, I think, because we've been denied, you know, the versions that exist, the versions we love. Or because they're so bad that we need to save them, I guess. But yeah, I think mainly the fan edits are for that reason.
I suppose I can't disagree with you there. Would you believe that the very first episode, the very first movie that I wanted to review for my show, I hope you like this, Hudson Hawk. Because I hate Hudson Hawk. I think Hudson Hawk is probably my most hated of all movies. That every frame of that film just feels like it just utterly insults me. And I was yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. But he's still I still feel like instead of timing his robberies with guards milling about by singing at the top of his lungs, he should just get a watch. But
that's not as cute.
I kind of marked out when you intimated that you would be doing a review of Hudson Hawk.
When did I do that? I know I did.
I want to say that was like 2009-ish.
Wow.
Because that was well, of course, Matthew Buck rode to the rescue and provided his review, which I liked his review. How could he not mention the part where Bruce Willis tells Frank Stallone, friend the Spoony experiment, Frank Stallone, to slurp his butt? He didn't even mention that line. A chapter of my life ended that day when I saw that.
Oh my god.
So I really wanted to review Hudson Hawk, but I honestly don't think I can do it because I just hate it too much.
Little known fact: did you know Frank Stallone was the guy who gets beat up by Wyatt Earp? He's the drunk guy who gets mad in Tombstone.
You intimated that during was it Lethal Games or what?
Yeah.
I don't think I've made that connection before.
Yeah, he's basically the first guy who's drunk at playing cards that gets beat up. He gets pistol whipped by Wyatt Earp, I think. Yeah, it's Frank Stallone.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had a concert at like a church outside Frederick, Maryland a couple of years ago.
That guy can sing.
It was advertised in the local Guitar Center and nowhere else.
Yeah, that guy can sing. Can't act.
But
if you can find him.
Do you think you'll ever get back to Hudson Hawk?
I don't think so.
I just can't do it. I can't. I'm not good at being angry for the camera, and that's all I would be. I'm glad I didn't start out my.
See, that's the thing is
that because that would have just set the stage for my entire show. Instead, I reviewed Run Lola Run, which is a freaking ridiculous movie that has two parts I utterly despise, but the rest of it I really genuinely enjoy, and that leveled the playing field for it.
If I can give some advice, is the angry thing. The best personas, this is a pro wrestling thing actually, the best personas are not gimmicks. Don't be something you're not. The best gimmicks is your personality, it's you turned up to 11. So that's kind of me, it's the Spoony character is me cranked up the volume. So that's like, you can kind of tell, right, I would be a lot more yelly, a lot more animated and stuff like that. So I think that's the difference. I think you can see that here. So yeah, if you're not an angry guy, don't try to fake being angry because people will tell it's fake.
I think I already figured that out for myself.
Yeah, so you have, and so yeah, just try to figure out what you at 11 is, or that's I helped you out.
Right. Thank you so much, man. So what's next for the experiment?
There's a few things I want to do. I definitely want to do Final Fantasy 13 too, but that's not next. There's two things I want to do. The next is there is a Big Trouble in Little China game on the Commodore 64.
Whoa!
Which I have only learned about in the last 6 months, and why in the hell was I not told about this before? It is my favorite movie. It is my favorite movie of all time.
Our cameraman is
pumping his fist. or more accurately, yeah, he's got the salute down.
I'm sure you noticed David Lopan was in R.I.P.D.
Yeah.
That probably didn't help that movie before he did.
But I actually have a poster signed by James Hong, which is cool. Once in a lifetime. A fan sent that to me, actually. I didn't get it signed. But yeah, well, by the way, thank you so much for that fan. And the second thing is I want to do more of the Black Hole of Board Games, which is a series where I review the board games that have the VHS tapes in them. Really rare commodity type thing. It was like a fad that came in.
I'm sometimes amazed that even worked at all. Like,
didn't work.
the VHS doesn't like branch on different paths, does it?
No, it doesn't at all. But they try to make it work, and for the most part, it just didn't. You know, it never.
Yeah, I played Seen It on DVDs. Those are marginally better.
Marginally, but yeah, for the most part, it just didn't catch on, didn't work. But some are really, really funny. That kind of good bad type thing. And some of them are really worth watching. But this time, I'm going to let the fans vote on this one with a much more restricted list.
I tell you, when you introduced me to the gatekeeper of Nightmare, I could have been the only. Surely you had to have thought about throwing in a Ghostbusters connection there, right?
Oh, the key.
Do you want this body baguette?
There's only so much I can throw into that conversation, but yeah, there is going to be another Nightmare Atmosphere type thing on there. I would love to do another one of those, but there's so many things on that stack I want to do. But yeah, that's another thing I've been really requested to do.
Very nice, man. I've had too much fun today. So here are too many games. I think we
no
should.
such thing of either one of those.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity, man.
Thanks for having me.
What else can I say? Again, I hate to keep being just promoting myself above all else, but one of my most recent episodes of Geek Critique, I covered the second Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Right, Wrath of the Dragon God.
And I'm eventually going to get to the third Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah,
that was Book of Vile Darkness.
In the UK?
You
told me about that.
Both of them were, yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Book of Vile Darkness, there's this. Okay, real quick. There's this evil city,
Hit me.
and only the most evil people are allowed to go into the evil city. So how do they prove how evil they are? A demonic pigtailed schoolgirl with ribbons of flesh flayed from her face and wrapped around her eyes comes out and licks the evil off applicants' hands to determine how much evil they exude and if that's over the accepted limit. So the question, I guess, what I ask myself is, how gradually did this D&D movie become a Silent Hill movie?
So what does the taste of evil taste?
It's a movie. I can't taste it.
I wouldn't want to lick anybody. Like, does she enjoy? Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
this already sounds awesome, though.
Kind of is.
But Bruce Payne, the Blue Lips guy, is in D&D too, but he ran out of blue lipstick.
Yeah, and he also ran out of his love for sword fighting. I guess the first D&D movie and Endgame kind of killed it for him. So the final battle is him running the hell away on a horse until Barbarian Woman jumps out of nowhere and screams him off the horse. Anyway, money well spent bringing him back after all this time.
Let's go check out the dealer room, man.
Let us.
I want to get a Vectrix or something.
No way out, Wilder, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, for the fine folks at Castaway Studios, we shall see you again sometime soon. Stay travels, folks.